Hi, my name is Amandi Pereira. I'm a junior at Swarthmore College, and this summer I interned at Brooklyn Community Services with the Hope Fellowship. Although my experience at Brooklyn Community Services would have been different under normal circumstances, it is still an honor to have worked for the oldest nonprofit organization in Brooklyn. During my internship, I learned a lot about nonprofit work, volunteer work, community organizing, and project management. All things that I hope to incorporate into my future career and really just bettering myself as a person. Specifically, my time in project management has taught me that oftentimes your plan A might not work out. Your plan B and plan C might not even be the best options. There are moments where you have to think on your feet and come up with new proposals or ideas, all while learning how to best communicate and work with the people around you and keeping up with any deadlines you might have. This was especially true for my work with the shower bus and finding parking locations for it. I spent a lot of time mapping out routes in Southwest Brooklyn to find a potential location and had actually met up with my supervisors, Humberto and Teresa, to help find one. It was then that I realized that project management isn't as easy or as seamless as I thought it would be. We ended up running into a lot of obstacles along the way. Parking lot owners not willing to rent out their space for what we needed, some locations being too small or too remote, or there not even being anyone that we could talk to for information once we got there. All things considered, I think the best part of my summer at BCS was honestly getting to work with and learn from the people working there. Janelle, Humberto, Teresa, and Christina, among others, have been amazing supervisors and mentors during my internship, and have always done their best to make sure my experience was as fulfilling and supportive as it could have been. While there were moments when I was confused and had no idea what I was doing, to be quite honest, I've learned that it's okay to figure things out as you go. Living in Jackson Heights, a large immigrant community where most residents are people of color, I have a deep appreciation for the work that BCS does to serve Brooklyn and communities that have been largely marginalized. Before the summer, I was also a lot more hesitant to reach out for help when I needed it, but now I know that the people I end up working with are people that I can ultimately lean on for support and guidance. It has been really amazing getting to know everyone at the Hope Reichbach Fund, Krista, Ellen, Daniela, and all the fellows, Alan, Kayla, Nuzhat, and Essence. You guys have all helped me work through any challenges or concerns I had this summer, and we're also there for the good parts.
Hi, my name is Alan Zhao, and this summer I interned at Uprose, an intergenerational, women of color, nationally recognized grassroots organization that promotes sustainability and resiliency through community organizing, education, leadership development, and cultural artistic expression here in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, New York. Despite the experience being remote, my time this summer has been one of growth and learning. One of my favorite projects was working on an anti-Asian American violence e-blast. This project was prompted by posters in the Bay Ridge and Sunset Park area that called for violence against the Chinese in relation to perceived notions of them being carriers of the coronavirus. Uprose wanted to show solidarity with the Chinese community, especially given the large population of Chinese immigrants in the Sunset Park area. In deciding how to approach this email, we decided to both show solidarity and draw attention to the history of Chinese Americans in the U.S. In the process, I learned a lot about the long history of the violence perpetrated against Asian Americans, specifically that of the Chinese. Yet despite this, they still led the charge, fighting for and winning numerous civil rights victories, such as birthright citizenship and ESL classes for all public school students. They were present as allies in the civil rights movement and rallied against the tragic, racially motivated murder of Vincent Chin in the 1980s. Being able to work on a project that brought awareness to all these histories was a huge highlight for me. I also really enjoyed being able to experience the conversations that take place in discussing these vital issues of our climate and environment. Being present as representatives from organizations throughout the Northeast and Midwest that are similar to UPRO's discussed how to respond to the proposed Transportation Climate Initiative, or TCI, was a really educational experience for me. While I heard different perspectives and ideas, there were also constructive discourse that allowed for a compromise to be made towards a common solution. I enjoyed learning about the local politics surrounding the rezoning of Industry City, which was recently defeated, and also the ideas behind a just transition. Similarly, I learned about the dangers of peaker power plants and what it meant that Sunset Park was an EJ community. I hope to take all the new information I've learned this summer and in turn continue to use it to educate others. I also want to thank all the kind and generous people, both at the Hope Reichbach Fund organization and Uprose, who made this summer opportunity possible. Despite the challenge of completing this opportunity amidst the pandemic, I felt at ease knowing that the structure and logistics of my internship were taken care of. I hope to be able to meet everyone I was fortunate enough to work and meet this summer in person sometime soon. As I look to begin my junior year of college, I'm confident my experiences this summer will allow me to continue to aspire towards making change in the communities that I'm a part of. Thank you.
My name is Nuzhat Wahid, and this summer I interned at the Legal Aid Society.
When I told members of my family that I would be interning with the Legal Aid Society, I'm sure they imagined something like this. Or this. But rather than go through an internship that took me throughout the city, I interned from home. And this may be unexpected, but I think it has genuinely been one of the most informative, humanizing, and important internships that I will ever experience. And I mean, I'm kinda young, so maybe not, but it's 2020, so we're gonna go with it. I got to witness the planning, the backup planning, and the regrouping that an organization that acted as one of the first line of defenses for thousands of New Yorkers went through as a result of one of the worst American crises. I was able to glimpse, witness, and contribute to the maintenance of one of our first lines of legal defense. Prior to that, I was given the chance to attend what is arguably, as Legal Aid points out, one of the best post-grad law trainings in the nation. Now, I am incredibly grateful to have the opportunity to be exposed to voir dire trainings, bail reform trainings, digital investigation trainings, preliminary hearing trainings, and introductions to guilty pleas and the broader effect of COVID-19 on the criminal defense system. However, while doing those trainings, at that moment, while I was awkwardly virtually staring at incredibly well-dressed suit and tie individuals on Zoom, most of whom were law students, I was a bit out of my depth. Thankfully, it's 2020, so everyone is just as, if not more, confused than I am. Alongside learning how to professionally stalk people via digital investigation training, I was also able to research the effect of COVID-19 on the justice system, which, as will be indicated, is an incredibly ironic label. I focused specifically on the spread of COVID within New York State prisons and then focused on broader legal events as an effect of COVID from March to May. These two topics are visualized with timelines that I created that in part highlight the inadequacies of government during this time, with a whopping more than 600 infections during the first few months of COVID. I also had the pleasure of being involved in an investigative training. My co-intern Alyssa and I had to act out several scenarios that investigators would face on the day-to-day. The occurrences went from what to do when an unwilling participant decides not to be questioned, when a client disobeys the law, but right in front of you, and how to tease information out of others. It really just went to highlight to me how important the human factor is in doing all of this work. These were only some of the highlights of what I encountered this summer. If anything, it has gone to show me what the price of justice is and the necessity of those in many ways that are willing to pay it. Despite COVID, legal aid investigators still travel throughout the boroughs in pursuit of justice. Process servers still handed out subpoenas to acquire meaningful case-sensitive information, and attorneys were still consistently communicating, representing, and defending their clients. Regardless of whether it was a case of mass protester arrests, jailed individuals exposed to COVID, unfair treatment from within the prison system, police brutality, legal aid never wavered in its pursuit of providing every New Yorker with representation, and subsequently, with hope. So my initial thank you note ended up being 2 minutes. I'm going to have to cut it short and just say this. I would like to thank Ellen, Sanda, Krista, Daniela, Eliza, Janet, Bruni, and my fellows, Amandi, Ellen, Kayla, and Essence, for inspiring me to do better every day, encouraging me to learn, and creating and being a part of this shared experience, for this amazing fellowship, and for being a part of the summer of 2020 with me. So once again, thank you.
Hi, I'm Essence Darris, and I'm a rising sophomore at Smith College, and I've completed my internship placement as a legal fellow within the education practice at the Brooklyn Defender Services. Throughout my time at BDS, I was able to complete a variety of projects within the criminal defense and education practice. The main project I worked on, the Education Practice COVID-19 Advocacy Report, transformed my summer experience. By learning about the context of the report and developing and producing the report, I learned what fierce advocacy looks like. The pandemic created unprecedented challenges for the largest public school system in the country. The DOE had to quickly and efficiently figure out how to transition over 1,100,000 students to remote instruction. 3 main initiatives were created to support students: the distribution of 300,000 iPads, a meal service for residents in all 5 boroughs, and remote learning plans. Each initiative was met with varying success. The DOE implemented a meal service to support the 78% of students who are economically disadvantaged. According to the New York Times, the need for food during the pandemic increased by 3,000%. The DOE, aware of the statistic, provided meals at 435 locations throughout New York City from Monday through Friday. Many of BDS clients were able to access the food and greatly appreciated that the service was implemented. The second initiative was the distribution of 300,000 iPads. The DOE shut down schools on March 15th and announced remote learning would start March 23rd. The iPads would be sent out within the last 2 weeks of March. Some students received their iPads in 2 weeks, some in 4 weeks, some in 6 weeks, and some never at all. The irregularity of when a student would receive an iPad is a detriment to their education because they are unable to engage in remote learning and more than likely falling behind their peers. The last initiative was to create remote learning plans for students with disabilities who have an IEP. The execution of this initiative was poorly handled. Some schools never developed remote learning plans for students with IEPs, or excluded students and families from the remote learning plans that were developed. As a result, many parents felt discriminated against and excluded from participating in their child's education. The advocacy report was designed to amplify the voices of many students and families who felt ignored and forgotten about by the DOE. The report features detailed client experiences of delayed iPad receival, lack of live and engaging instruction, and elimination of support services. These experiences were terrible to hear and witness, therefore the report will be used for sweeping policy changes to prevent further injustices many of our clients experienced. Starting at BDS, I thought making change to an extremely bureaucratic and complicated institution like the education system in the city would be extremely impossible. However, working at BDS and specifically working on the COVID-19 report, I now know the strategies and procedures needed to demand change. Because of this experience, I feel more comfortable using my voice to amplify the experiences of vulnerable and marginalized communities, and I just want to thank BDS and the Hope Reichbach community for giving me such an insightful experience this summer. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Kayla Renick. I am a junior pursuing a bachelor's degree at Brooklyn College. I want to become a lawyer because my passions surround social issues, social justice, the American legal system, and how we can influence the things that affect us, which is why I was very excited to be a part of the Hope Fund. I decided to do a poem spelling out hope because I felt like that is how I could really show what not only the program means to me, but I was also a part of the Hope program as well as the Hope Fund, so I feel like this shows both. H is for holding on to goals and putting the effort to accomplish them. O is for overcoming adversity and the opening of doors to new beginnings leading to beautiful journeys. P is for promoting positivity and powerful thoughts to combat any trials or tribulations that may arise. E is for the excellence to be seen through passion, support, and drive. This summer, like I stated previously, I was working with the Hope program, which really helps students not only get jobs, but be able to maintain them with proper tools and support that they need to keep the job. An important part of the whole program is that they do a resume prep process, which basically means that staff members work with a digital literacy team, and these staff members work one-on-one with students, asking questions to basically fill out the fields of the resume. But by doing this one-on-one, whether it's on video conference or on phone, they're able to not leave anything out and fully get a sense of them while they're filling it out. These classes are a few of many that I was a part of that I felt were worth mentioning. So there's a customer service class, a problem solving class, job applications overview class, the Glassdoor class, which goes over Glassdoor, how to fill it out, and helps the students, and drafting a cover letter. Another class that I felt had to be separated from the rest that I took part in was the work wellness classes. These classes provide an overview on wellness, mental health, and stress management strategies. All this adds up to providing a self-care plan that works for each individual person that's in the program. I quickly wanted to mention Salesforce because it allows us to better assist students when it comes to adding and removing things from their account. So things like case notes, referral info, personal info, and advancements in the program. This is very important, especially for a project I worked on, which allowed me to assist students to get funds for different things, whether it be bills that were unpaid, food, classes, rent, and many other things. So another part and the final part I would mention about the whole program is that we have client meetings every week. We do them sometimes more than once a week, and they really refer to times where we can give updates, whether it's on students, success stories, case studies, concerns that we have, how to manage projects better, and it's an overall check-in from staff. It's very important, not only for us to better assist the students, but also for us to basically hear from different departments and all the directors of the program, and just allows us to be better at what we do. The last thing I want to say is that this experience was truly amazing and truly worthwhile. I cannot wait to find ways that I can continue this work. The knowledge I have gained from this has made me beyond grateful. I want to thank the fund and the program for giving me the opportunity to be a fellow this summer. There are not enough words to fully express my gratitude, and I just want to say thank you again.
Thank you, Hope.